Adriana, I'm so glad that you're doing this with me. I remember the first time we met, we spoke in person. We spoke for hours and hours and hours. And finally, we are here having a legit chat.
Yes.
So I'm doing this series called Your Legit Business.
Ooh.
And I've seen you. I know you've been on a journey.
Yeah.
But I've been in your life during a transitional periods in your life. And so I know part of the story. I really want to share it with others. So as a nurse, you were a nurse and then you quit and all that jazz. Yes. So first I want to say thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so humbled and honored that you asked. I'm like, oh,
yes, you.
Okay. And it was a no-brainer. Like, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to be on legit. I'm trying to be legit.
Yes, we're all about legit up in here. So your legit business, let's start with your career as a nurse and what the defining, the last straw on the camel's back that had you quit.
All right. Yes. So let's see. I began my nursing career in 2016, I believe. In 2016 or 15. It might have actually been 15. I can't remember. But I just want to start off saying that I absolutely loved nursing. I really, truly have a heart of service, and I enjoyed my time nursing. However, it did come to a point in about, 2020, coming out of the pandemic. And for me, God really just had this burning entrepreneurial spirit in me. And it was just growing and growing and growing to the point where, I was at work. I worked night shift my entire nursing career. And, I was on the computer just researching, working on different businesses and things of that nature during the downtime. Because, again, I worked night shift. And I was like, you know what? I love this, but I know this is not it for me. I know that God has something different for me, and I just needed to figure it out. And so I was in a space of really figuring it out. And I will say that COVID was difficult. COVID was difficult for a lot of nurses. For me specifically in the pediatric world, we had kind of an opposite experience where we weren't seeing a lot of patients at all. And so they were dispersing us to different units, and it was fine for me because I had adult experience. But it just wasn't ideal in the way hospital systems approached the pandemic and approached nurses. It wasn't great. I didn't really feel needed. So, and for me, what it was is that I was called in I work night shift, and I was called in one night at 5 a.m. to come to work at 5 a.m. I get off at 7 a.m., mind you. They called me in to come in and sit on a patient, which was fine, a mental health patient. However, there are persons in the hospital that are employed called sitters to sit on patients. And for me, I just remember driving to work, just crying and being like, I can't believe that I had to get up, at 4:45 in the morning, make it to work just to be here, for 2 hours. And not that I'm above sitting, but for something that's not necessarily in my scope of practice, because the hospital would rather call me in than have someone else or whatever it may be. And I said, man, I just don't want to be at the will of an employer like that again. And for me, that is when the true transition started.
And it was also right after your regular shift, right? Because you had just gotten home.
Yes, I believe I probably worked the night before. So, and
right.
the thing was, I was on call, and that's the thing.
Okay.
It is a thing being on call, right? In the nursing world, and you just never know. But it just, for me to be called 2 hours in before my shift, it just did not make sense, and it didn't sit well with me. So. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you were talking, by the way, you have really beautiful eyes. Like, it's lighter brown. I'm sorry. I just had to get that.
Oh, you're making me blush. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you have really beautiful eyes.
Sweet, girl. Girl.
Okay, so the transition period started. I know that you served with a mentor. And in that time, so right from the time that you quit to serving, did you have a plan?
No, not really. Actually, so I quit when I got the plan. So if I could go back, so I met my mentor in about 2020. We were both in the same cohort.
Yes.
And I met her and I sent her a message, and the subject was request to serve, because God had been putting on my heart the importance of a mentor. And I was thinking, like, who should be my mentor? I was reading this book by John Maxwell, The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And he spelled out in his book what a mentor should look like. And I said, man, who? And there was one person that came to mind. So I sent her a message and just was like, well, we'll see what happens. And she responded about a couple of weeks favorably. And so we started our mentorship, had a couple of Skype calls. And then towards the end, I was just telling her about, the business idea that God had given me at the time, and like trying to figure it out and what to do, like what exactly like is my purpose. And because I was a pediatric nurse, and at the time I was looking to open a daycare center, I wanted to have a chain of daycares at one point in time. And she just stopped me and was like, would you want to move to Dallas? And I was like, what? And she was like, I could really use some in-home help with my children. And because of your experience, because of your background, I wanted to see if you would be available. And so I said, let me think about this. Let me pray on this.
Let me sleep on it.
And I will, yes. And I was like, I'll let you know. As soon as I closed the laptop, got off that call, I knew that God told me, he was like, this is going to be a part of your story. Mm-hmm. And I knew then, I was like, I guess I'm going to be moving to Texas. So I told my mom, I told two of my really close friends, and they were all in agreement. And it was, yeah. And
so that was all set in place, and then you quit.
And then, yes. And then
okay.
I quit. So then I put in my time. So it was, I had a couple of months in between the time. I moved in February of 2020, I believe, to Texas. And so I had given them, I think I gave them like at least 45 days notice at the hospital. But what was interesting is that because it was during that COVID time and we weren't seeing a lot of patients, they were actually asking us if we wanted to work on other units or decrease our hours. So I had already chosen to decrease my hours. So it's just amazing how God was working it out, and he was already creating the transition. But
you were also like in motion, I feel like you were also doing like work before, even though all that was happening. Which is really great. Okay, so you moved to Texas. We're in Texas. We're in Dallas right now, by the way.
Yes.
This is where we met before last year, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, which is
right in
great.
Addison area, I think it was.
Yes, and let's talk about the Texas. Or let's talk and let's not talk about the Texas heat.
Oh yes, woo, girl.
Yeah,
July, August,
and we're in December right now, and it's still kind of warm.
And it's still warm.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's Texas.
That's besides the point. Okay, so you moved to Texas and you're serving.
Yes.
And we don't have to go into what serving looked like, but how did that affect your journey as a woman, as a person, as having that entrepreneurial spirit? Because we know that the person that you served is an entrepreneur. And so how did that fit into the piece of the puzzle?
Man, that's a great question. I honestly soaked in all that I could possibly soak in that 15-month period that I was serving here in Texas. And I just simply watched. I honestly didn't have to ask a lot of questions. I just watched. I watched how she and her husband, they ran her home. They both have home-based businesses, online-based businesses, and I just watched them work. Literally, that was it. I watched them work, and I took mental notes. I took physical notes, and when it was time for me to apply it to my life, I did it, and it worked. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but just, I talk about the power of mentorship all the time, and it doesn't even mean that you have to have meetings with them day in and day out. Like, just having a person that you can model essentially like your desires after, your life, and having that person, the power of, there's just power in observation as well. And then really taking the information that you learn and applying it. That's the most important piece of it. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard this said multiple variations, serving the vision before you actually become the vision. And I think that was basically what you went through. And so that's a good segue into your business in a day. Adriana and Company, right?
Yes, Adriana plus
yeah,
Company.
So let's talk about how that happened.
Okay, so this is a cool story.
Yes, I know.
So I was still serving here in Texas, and I had my best friend. She was planning she started a business, but she wanted it to be more visible. And so we had a phone call, and I was talking to her about all the things that she can do and set up and really make her business more visible and, eventually more profitable. And so at the end of that call, it was about maybe like an hour call, and I was just like throwing ideas out there, and I pretty much had structured her business by the end of that call.
Okay.
And she said to me, Adriana, you probably should package this because you're really good at this. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do that. I said, I'm going to do that. Why not? Yeah. And so what I did that day, I got off the phone with her and I opened my laptop and I said, okay, let's structure this business. Let's see where it goes. So I structured the business in about a couple of hours. And then I started posting on social media. I just started literally right then and there, and then now it has evolved. I started off doing like blueprints for people for their businesses. I would structure your business in a 3-month 3-month segments, I guess you can say, and I would create a blueprint for them, and then they will follow the blueprint, and we will work backwards, and we will have assignments. So I still kind of have that in my package, but I literally just started with the blueprint, and now I have 2 major packages and working with clients and on the operations management end, and so it's just amazing to see how it's evolved.
But do you believe that everything that you had learned up until, because it sounds like, business in a day, but not really, because you're made up of everything, that happened prior.
Absolutely. I would 100% agree with that. Like, I had to go through the experience. I had to go through the learning in order to be able to sit down and create a business in a day. So the program that we were involved in, it taught me those skills.
Which is called the High Earning
Housewife.
Yes,
the High Earning Housewife. Yes. The High Earning Housewife. I mean, it really taught me a lot of the things that I needed to know, and I just kept them in my brain for when it was time to apply it to my life. I never thought that I was going to have this type of business. I never thought I was going to have an online-based business. I never thought I would be a business launch strategist. But, here we are. And because I had gone through that program and learned the things I learned, I was just able to apply those very quickly because I had the prior knowledge.
How do you get clients?
A lot of them word of mouth.
That has been,
a lot of it has been word of mouth. And then showing up on Instagram, I'm really like a behind the scenes girl. So I will just prop up my phone, while I'm working, just so people know that I am actually working, right? But mostly word of mouth. And then from there, referrals. And that's how it's mostly been. I haven't really dived so deeply into my own marketing yet because I've been focusing so much on my clients that typically happens, that your own, social media accounts and things take a little bit of a hit. But I'll be gearing that up in this.
That's really great. And so you mentioned a couple of stuff, business launch strategist, specifically online. How did you structure that, and what factors go into determining what rates you charge your clients?
Interesting. That's a really good question. So I will tell you.
Sometimes at the end of the day or week, I'm like, what did you do? The principle of marginal gains, getting better by 1% consistently over time, can lead to tremendous success. I partnered with Skillshare to create a course that gives you the tools to be less busy and more productive while attaining your legit goal, a goal that is true to you and the season that you're in. Click the link in the description box below to get 30-day free membership on Skillshare on me. I hope it helps.
when I started out, I definitely lowballed myself,
Of
as
course.
many of us end up
Do,
doing.
yes.
Because I was like, oh, I don't really know. I had to really figure out what really worked for my clients. I will say one of the biggest things, and I tell people all the time, is I figured out what I didn't love to do. And so I started out, and someone came to me asking for social media management. And I was like, I'm not really sure, but let me just, because so many people were asking for it, I was like, let me just dabble in it. I did, and I realized I was pretty good at it, but I wasn't loving it. So I realized, I was like, that's not really what I want, my bread and butter to be. But what I really loved is the innovation piece. So I really love being able to take a person's business idea and make it happen and make it real. And so that's what I love to do. I love to structure. I love to take your idea and make it a reality. And so I'm just thinking about, one of my clients, she came to me, she's a physician and a personal trainer. And she said, I want an online product where my clients can come, they can just literally just pay, and then they have a virtual workout system right there that they can follow through. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I flew to her, we filmed, and then once I had all the footage, I put it all together. I created her website and literally created her product that is going to be offered to the marketplace in January next month. So that's a little example of what I currently am doing. And then a new business, well, not a new business, but a new service package that I have is actually my VIP day, how to build a business in a day.
All right, VIP.
Yes, that's my VIP day. But as far as your question in how to charge, I just really take what I'm doing and I communicate the value, right? Like, what time am I taking off of my client's plate? And that is what's most valuable, because the more time I take off their plate, the more time that they have to indulge in income generating activities, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's very, very valuable. That's something that I would pay really good money for. And so I said, wait a minute. When I realized the value that I was bringing to my clients, I was then able to reflect that in my prices.
That's really great. Do you have a team?
I do now. Literally,
oh,
as of today, so just a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, I was on the phone and I now have my own operations manager. So although I'm operations manager for my client, I now have my own. So she helps me do some of the things in the business that I don't have as much time to do anymore. Now that my clients are coming in at a steady rate. So I'm so grateful to have her on, and she's amazing. So yeah, I have a team now.
That's
so I guess we go from a company to an agency. I
love that growth. Yeah, that's definitely a growth. Going back to charging and the value and things, I remember one time I was interviewing for a job, and I spoke to somebody about it, and she's like, you also have to go into the interview thinking about what you are bringing, your skills, your talents, your experiences. And a lot of us go in nervous. I spoke to a friend a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, she's super nervous. And I'm like, girl, I brought that back to her. I'm like, girl, you have experiences, you have value, you have talents, you have skills. And apart from the fact that, you're selling what you have, you are also taking note of, is this where I want to be, and is this the environment I want to work in? And so it's much of a choice for you as it is, for them. So absolutely, the value piece is very important. And I know that phrase that says charge your worth, and I have a problem with that, because I feel like your worth is not tied to your job, or what you do, or what service you give. So
and that's so true, and that's really true. And a lot of it, it's just, man, because at the end of the day, our worth is invaluable, right? We can't put a price tag. We can't put a price tag on our worth. But we do know, as children of God, that we have to be good steward over our finances, right? Mm-hmm. And all throughout the Bible, the Lord, He really focuses on finances and, you know, the Proverbs 31 woman, and getting what you need so that, you know, that you can live your purpose as best as possible. And I know I'm like messed up with words a little bit, but essentially it's just really important for us to use our resources and to steward them well. And the fact of the matter is you need money to do so, right? Yeah, and so it's just keeping in mind, like, the point of having a heart of service and remembering that in your job as an entrepreneur, you are still serving. But in order to serve at a certain level, then your price has to reflect your offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, every business is, you know, answering a need. Like it's servicing a need, whatever is needed. And so that's really great. So what does this business mean for you and to you? So for you and to you.
Wow. So let's start right there. How I got that name.
Right.
So Adriana Plus Company, I really wanted to create a business where my clients and I are really truly working together. Like, it's a culture of a win-win culture, right? You're not just coming to me and I'm just telling you all the things to do. Like, no, we're really working together to bring your vision to life, to increase the visibility of your brand, and for you to become more profitable. And I just really wanted I really wanted to capture that feel. And so that's why I said Adriana Plus Company. So it's kind of a little play on words, like, you know, I have my company coming over. Like, it's me and you. We're really working together to bring your vision to light. And it's just a positive experience all around. And so that's where Adriana Plus Company came in. And so that would be, so tell me again, you said
for you and to you.
For you and to you. And so I guess that would speak to the for you. And then what does the business mean to me? Everything right now. What does it mean to me? Everything. Just to be able to wake up and to serve. It challenges me every day. It allows me to be more disciplined. You know, I do work hard. And it's I know a lot of people know, but being an entrepreneur, you end up working way more than you do when you have a traditional employer. And so really just figuring that out and challenging me to be more innovative, to be more creative. Like, I really love that, and that means a lot to me. And the fact that, you know, God has given me the resources, it's like I just want to do my very best with what he has given to me. And so this particular business, there are others. There's another one that I've been working on for the past couple of years, but with this particular business, what it means to me is that I'm able to, every single day, I'm able to use the gift that God gave me. And that's really important. Like the gift of administration, the gift of structure, the gift of attention to detail. Like, I was able to use what God put in me to service others every day. And that means the world.
I really love that because, you know, I've also come to realize that, you know, we show up as God, or we express who he is in so many different vast ways. And before, it was such a skewed, narrow way of, it has to be in, you know, something that has to do in the church or something like that. But the fact that it's showing up for you, for us in our daily lives, how we show up to work, how we run business is what I really love. I always say that God is so, whenever we try to imitate what somebody else does, is kind of limiting God and his creativity. Because there's so much that he's put into each and every single one of us.
Individually,
in various ways that makes it beautiful to work with each other.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And so,
we need each other. We need each other.
So I know you get to travel a lot and, you know, as you do your business, and you just came back from Atlanta.
Yes.
So, what's that like for you? Do you like traveling? Do you love moving around?
I do. I love it. And just the other day, I was just sitting there like, man, I am so grateful that I have a business that allows me to indulge in my passion of traveling. I absolutely love it.
That.
Now, there's times where it's like, oh, man, you know, I think I had 3 days in between these past 2 trips, and I'm like, oh, going back on to repack, kind of pack
Going again, yeah.
So it gets a little crazy at times, but I absolutely love it. I love the fact that because I have a virtual-based business, that I'm able to service people all over the nation, all over the world. And when they have their in-person events, I'm able to show up and assist them on the day of. So I really, really, really love that.
That's really great. I love to travel too.
Yes,
girl. It's amazing.
Yes.
I think it shows you so many things about yourself and about God, about God and how people are living so many different lives.
Yes. But at the end of the day, the core is the same. And that's what gets me about traveling.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. You know, like, there's the... even though if you go to different countries, they may speak a different language to you, right? The smile still translates the same way, and it's those little things that I'm just, I love that. Or amazing. Family is still the core unit in everyone's lives, you know what I mean? It's just wonderful. It's wonderful. And I know you have some trips coming up too, ma'am.
I do, but we're not talking.
I know, we're not talking about you. Yeah, I know. But that's one of the reasons why we bonded. We both love traveling.
No, I'm super excited about my trips. I try to get that in. Well, Adriana, thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me, with the welcome. Legit folks.
Yes, you're so welcome.
Yeah, you're so legit, and your business is legit.
Thank you, and thank you so much.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that I get to be a part of your journey, to watch how you've grown and are growing, and that you also share with me. I really appreciate it.
I was going to say, I'm just so appreciative for our friendship and our relationship and how it's blossomed, over the years, and how, the Hiring Housewife has brought us together, and and we stayed in contact, and we meet, and I really love that. One of your biggest cheerleaders, if not your biggest cheerleader.
Same, likewise.
Love the podcast. And again, I'm just so honored that you would think of me.
Of course.
To be on it, to have a conversation. We chit-chat like this all the time. So even though the camera is in the way, this is real life. This is real legit.
This is legit. Yeah.
It's real legit.
So, do you have any last words or like one piece of advice for anybody trying to get out? I would love for you to speak to somebody who is a nurse and maybe would want to branch out and do something else.
Ooh, yes. So first and foremost, I would say to always follow your conviction. That's first and foremost for me. Like I said, I still have a heart for nursing. I am still a registered nurse. So at any given moment, I can go, back into the field. I can go back into the field. So it's not that I left because I didn't like it. It just wasn't working for my life, at the moment. And I knew that God had something, different for me specifically. Right. And so I would say that if that is you, to just pray on it, wait for, confirmation, and step out on faith, because there is so much, there's just so much out there. There's so much that God wants to do with you. And it just really takes that first step. And it's going to be scary. It's going to be nerve-wracking. But if God told you to do it, then the resources, the provision, all of that is already provided for. And it's just really taking a moment to be still, to hear and to see, what it is that He is saying to you. And so that's how it's been in my life. I make all my decisions, with a high level, of discernment. But that's my biggest thing would be, is to just go with your convictions, go with your heart, whatever you're feeling. If you're not happy, then just know that you have the power to change your story.
Yeah, I love that. You have the power to change your story. You are the writer, right? Yes, you're the narrator. Yes. I do love what you said about stepping out on faith. I always say that a lot of us sometimes are faithful, but we're not faithful to the faith that we have. Yeah. And as much as faith without works is dead. And God is definitely, waiting for us to move. And then, He makes the way. So I love that you said that. Well, girl, we're in the session where we play a little game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, I love to have fun, too.
Yes.
So, so we're going to do, like, a random one, and then this or that.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun.
Okay.
So, random. What's one thing you've always wanted to do that you haven't yet?
one thing I always wanted to do having it. I just had a conversation not too long ago about this, but I want to do a hot air balloon ride.
Oh.
Haven't done that yet.
Nice. Are you doing it soon?
Hopefully. It's on my list.
Good.
So I'm hoping to be able to check that off.
Okay.
So,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, this or that, mountains or beaches?
Ooh, beaches.
Hot sauce in the fridge or cabinet?
Okay, this is funny. In the fridge. Mine is in the fridge.
Okay.
But I would do it. That's hilarious.
Mine's in the fridge too.
Mine is in the fridge.
Once I open it, it
in the
fridge,
right? But I can take it warm too. Yeah. Once I open it, it goes into the fridge.
Winter or summer?
Ooh, summer.
Okay, that's all we have. Thank you so much, Adriana.
Thank you so much, Bissy. It's been such a pleasure, y'all.
Yes.
Bissy is legit. Okay.
We have a dinner tonight, so I'm so excited to just sit and eat and just talk.
And talk, and fellowship.
Like
it's
we
going to
do.
be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be so much fun.
All right. Thank you, y'all.
Thanks.